From times wrestlers just plain screwed up to other fails that couldn't be missed, join me as I show you 7 WWE funniest flops and fails moments. Number 8. The Undertakers Headdress. Listen, when you're talking about The Undertaker, you're talking about a legend, a man who has helped shape the business of wrestling as we know it. From the moment he arrived to the moment he leaves for good, which isn't yet, he's left a mark that is going to be very hard to follow, and we all acknowledge that. But what makes The Undertaker so special in the eyes of the many is how flawless he is in the ring. But, in this case, he did one of the most noticeable flops in his career. When getting himself ready for a match, he went to lower the headdress off his head so that he could do his signature eye roll, and he botched it so hard it hurts to watch. Seriously, it took him several attempts to get that thing off. This is not the kind of thing that you expect from The Undertaker, and that's what makes it such a fabulous flop. Number 7. The Undertakers Laugh. Okay, I remember seeing this one live and it was one of the best moments in wrestling I've ever seen, just because of how real it was. This wasn't a flop or a fail on The Undertaker, but rather it was one done by his opponent of the night, Brock Lesnar. At this point in their careers, Brock was the combat athlete after coming back from a successful run in the UFC, where he was a champ there and had many legendary battles. As for The Undertaker, he was in the twilight of his career, but he knew he could still perform, more or less. In order to avenge the loss that he had at WrestleMania that broke his legendary undefeated streak, which many consider a fail in their own right, he had to fight Brock Lesnar. Anyway, the match was all kinds of brutal, and both men were honestly bleeding from the encounter. But instead of selling it like the monster he was, Brock Lesnar got into a laughing fit after knocking down The Undertaker. So when The Undertaker rose back up like only he could, you'd think that Brock would be serious, but he kept laughing. Whether it was planned or not, The Undertaker clearly was ticked and he laughed back in a very hilariously hollow way before continuing the matchup. The match ended in a controversial fashion, but the moment that everyone remembers was The Undertaker's laugh at Lesnar. Number 6. Don't dance like that. Arguably one of the biggest successes that the WWE has had over the last 5 years or so was the birth of the New Day. The tag team composed of Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E started out as a joke of a stable. Seriously, no one took them serious with their power of positivity shtick. But when they turned heel, became champs, and proved that they were worthy, everyone loved them, especially when they went back to being faces. One of their biggest things is that they dance to their theme song and love every minute of it. And they'll occasionally get others to join them in on their dancing, which includes guys like Triple H, John Cena, Braun Strowman, and more. But when Titus O'Neil joined in to dance with them, yeah, it was ugly. It started out harmless enough. He started out with a whistle of the New Day song, and then he started to twerk. And you know what? Let's just move on. It's too painful to watch. Number 5. Over the ropes. One of the reasons I made sure to note that wrestling is choreographed and not fake is because that there is a lot that these athletes have to do in order to make these matches shine. Not the least of which is flips and lifting people up onto their backs, which isn't as easy as you might think. Anyway, there's a former wrestler known as Mark Henry whose label was that he was the world's strongest man, which is a title he earned because he honestly did win that legendary competition. But that doesn't mean that he can lift everything with ease. As you can see in this clip, he was seriously struggling to get those steps over the ropes, and he's the world's strongest man. So as you can see, not everything is as easy as it looks, even for someone like Henry. Number 4. Too much Randy. Okay, this one is a fail, but it's a fail in context. Because, as you can see in this clip, Randy Orton on the table is doing everything right. He's selling the move, the crowd is into it, his opponent Kane is reacting the right way, everything is going well. But the momentum of what he was doing was too much for the table, which definitely isn't as sturdy as it looks, and thus he slips, falls into it, and then causes the whole table to flip over. I mean, that is a freak accident no matter how you look at it, but seriously, ouch! I feel bad for Randy that this happened to him because that seriously looked like it hurt. Thankfully, he was fine, but again, choreographed, not fake. I mean, really, does this look fake?
Great agility by Orton! Oh, man!
Number 3. Slip. Wait, you still don't believe me when I say that this isn't fake, it's choreographed? Fine, how about this clip? Here we see Zack Ryder, a fan favorite in WWE despite how management treats him, on the top rope, and as you can clearly see, he doesn't have the right balance. And thus when he tries to do his off the top rope move, he fails horribly, lands on his fight, and reacts correctly by just going into a beating on his opponent. Trust me when I say that the ropes and turnbuckle setup don't offer a lot of room to move or maneuver. You have to have the right balance, or you're done. And in the case of Zack Ryder, yeah, he was done. Number 2. Still too much Randy. Okay, if you're still not convinced, this'll do it. Randy Orton was in a title match against a man named Jinder Mahal, and at Mahal's side were two cronies called the Singh brothers. During the match, the Singhs tried to intervene and cost Randy the match, and that didn't make him happy one bit. So, being the nice guy that he was, he decided to beat them into oblivion. The failure here is twofold. One, he was supposed to have a shoulder injury that he was nursing, so he shouldn't have been able to do certain moves. And two, as you'll see here, he put way too much effort into trying to take down this particular Singh brother. Even Randy realized that he went too far and massaged his shoulder to try and show that he was hurting from it. Right.
Is that why you don't respect me?
Number 1. A kick and a miss. Okay, so you know that wrestling is choreographed, right? Not fake, but choreographed. That means that everyone who is in the ring has certain things that they have to do, certain cells that they have to perform, and so on and so forth in order to make everything click, right? Well, in a segment between The Big Show and Alberto Del Rio, things didn't click. The segment was as simple as could be. The Big Show was chewing someone out, and he was holding a bucket up to his head. How convenient. And then Del Rio was to go and kick the bucket into his head and make a big show of it because he got hit with steel. Very easy. Except, as you see here, he not only whiffed hard, he had to do the kick twice just to make it work. I mean, talk about embarrassing. First off, Del Rio is a skilled guy, so doing botches like this doesn't happen very often for him. But when it comes right down to it, the whole segment was stupid. I mean, Big Show is literally propping the bucket up to his head and waiting for Del Rio to kick it. This is why the WWE isn't considered the greatest of television shows at times, because for every great thing that they do something like this. And it just sadly really shows how bad the show can be. Anyways, there you have it everyone, a look at some of the funniest flops in WWE history. What do you think of these wrestlers and their flops? Which of these was your favorite? Do you know any other flops that should be on this list? Let me know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.